Everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 352. Terry Miller, the disc golf guy, rolling solo tonight without Johnny V, but instead we might have a special co-host. We'll see if how that works out, and we just might be able to get Adam Hammis here on the call. Wait. Yeah, okay. I think we've got a co-host that's ready to join now, maybe.
Hola.
All right. So my youngest daughter here, Kenzie Miller, is going to step in just for a few moments. Are we extending bedtime? Is that what we're going to do?
Yes.
Yeah, something like that. She's going to step in just for a few moments. I also just got word a few minutes ago that Adam Hammis might be able to join. We went back and forth a few times today, and we didn't get it fully locked in. So now, with just a few minutes ago, hopefully we are going to, in fact, be able to get him and have him be able to join us so that we can get things going. So hopefully we are ready to go, and hopefully everything is broadcasting and is live. I just have to double check. I'll be the first to admit this is a totally different setup that I am not necessarily used to using. And of course, I'm not in Johnny V's basement and he's not pressing the controls. So that's why I have to do a few things on my own to make sure that we are good to go. And it doesn't seem like we are. Is there audio? Yeah, we are double checking. This is all part of the live experience there, Mackenzie. So right now I'm going to double check that this is all set. Hopefully we are. And let's see what's going on here. Do you see anything?
Hi, Dave. Hi, Ray.
That's Ray.
Ray.
Hold on one sec. I don't know why we don't have any. Oh, we do. What are we doing? Look at that. There you are. There we are. All right. So I'm hoping that somebody can give us an audio check just to confirm that everything is good to go.
Hola, Sam.
Is that our buddy Sam?
Yeah.
Let me do this and get it ready. Also trying to confirm. It looks like I might see Adam, and hopefully we'll be able to get him here in just a few moments. So, Kenzie.
Yes.
Let's start with you. This weekend, I wasn't doing the broadcasting, but instead I was out doing some vending. Why weren't you there? Don't you have things you want to sell?
Well, it was cold.
Okay, not really. 70.
It said it was going to be 60.
Uh-huh.
But living in Wisconsin, you really don't know. Like, it could start snowing or it could be like 90 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't really prepared for that. And I had some friends over.
Okay, so you say it was too cold to vend, but you went swimming?
Yes. Pretty much.
I'm not sure. All right. Well, we're going to give you some limited time here. So they want to hear probably a joke or maybe two. Do you have any jokes off the dome? I don't want them. I don't want these pre-read.
No, they're all in my notes.
Okay. All right. She's got them in her notes. Make sure you talk into the microphone for everybody here.
Why do people tell actors to break a leg before a performance?
Why do people tell actors to break a leg before a performance? Why is that?
Because every play has a cast.
You know, it's so much more impactful if you have these memorized. Usually you do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now just since you're part of the warm-up act and routine here, what determines if you're going to take a joke and you're going to keep it? Like, what does it need to do for you to be like, that's a good joke, I'm going to go with that?
If it's funny and I get a reaction from my friends.
Okay.
Because if they like it, then I'm going to keep telling it.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. And what do you have a favorite joke that's not in your notes?
Yes.
Okay. Can you share it or no? Or are you just gonna keep that?
I need to get permission.
Oh, okay.
Otherwise somebody might hit me.
Somebody might hit you? Who hits you? Don't answer that.
I'm not trying to say any words except for Allie.
Your sister. Okay. And then, so real quick, while you're looking for your joke, I have another question. Some people suggest that you be a replacement to Johnny V. How do you feel about that in terms of co-hosting?
Yes, I will.
You will?
I will take this role.
Uh-huh.
Uh-huh.
And then do what with it?
And then see how I will enjoy being famous while I'm eating.
Yeah, it doesn't, that I don't think that pays too well unless you're Guy Fieri. He would eat and then be famous. All
So
right.
will other people.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Hello. We're going to let Kenzie go here in a minute because I think we do have Adam Hammis not too far from now. We weren't sure if we were going to have him, but I think we are going to. Chaser, I mean, you've got a response to that, don't you? Where he says, Kenzie, what's a pirate's letter or favorite letter?
It's either R or C.
Yeah, I think the correct response is most people would think it's the R, but it's really the C.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that throws people off because
I would always tell people the joke, and then when they would respond, I would respond with the opposite.
There you go. See, he even says you may think it's the R, but it's really the C. Yeah. So we're gonna have a special guest, Adam Hammis, who won this weekend. He's from Wisconsin. Yeah, he won. What would be the toughest question you'd want to ask him? Do you have a tough question you'd like to ask him?
Do you really have to wait 30 minutes after eating to go swimming?
Okay, that's a fair question.
I've heard both sides. So
okay,
something I want to know.
All right. Well, I think that's a fair question. All right. Well, we are going to let you go. I want to make sure everything else is still good to go here. I don't know why we are all of a sudden getting an issue. Hopefully we are not.
I do look like him.
All right. I'm getting some errors saying that there's an issue. Hopefully everything still works. Okay. All right. Well, is there anything you want to say to sign off to everybody?
I wish you all have a very good National Kids Day. Or it's not national, actually. In Poland, it is Kids Day. And my friend received $60 from her parents. So, Dad, that's kind of a hint. Wink, wink.
Wait, so your friend Barbara is from Poland. You've been helping her out since she moved here. And she received $60 for National Kids Day?
In Poland, it's Kids Day. And she also got pizza for dinner.
And?
Thought I'd share that.
All right. Well, we're going to let you go. Thank you, Kenzie. Hey, there's a really big beer in the fridge. Could you grab that for me? I've been saving it for a special occasion. I think tonight is the night. Yeah. It's a really big one. Okay, thanks. All right. I'm going to get a little bit more serious here. I want to get plugged in because I think we've got Adam, who was able to connect with just moments before we went live. I didn't honestly think we were going to have him, and now it sounds like we might. So let me put some headphones on and see if I can. I'm going to have to, again, please bear with me, everyone. I think, we're going to have to open that. Yes. One final goodbye, Kens.
Goodbye. I hope you will enjoy your ice cream tonight.
All right, I need an opener. Can you find an opener?
Use your teeth.
Take care of that. All right. I think, without further ado, if I can click the right button, just like this, we're going to be able to bring in, I think I'm going to give him the full screen. Adam Hammis. Adam, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for your patience. Tonight's been a little bit hectic and I'm running the show alone. I'm not in the SmashBoxx studios. And so just had me and the daughter open the show, but congratulations. And how's California?
First of all, thank you. We are actually up in Eugene now. California was great.
Okay.
We headed out. We got out of there yesterday and then we got to Eugene where, Jeff lives, Jeff Corns. Mm-hmm. So I'm with Ben Calloway. We're here. We're spending one more night here, and then we're heading to Portland tomorrow morning. So,
okay, yeah. Makes perfect sense that you're already out of there. So you being a very outdoorsy guy, of course, growing up in northern Wisconsin, Minocqua, Woodruff area, northern Wisconsin, you're always out fishing and exploring and doing outdoorsy things. I mean, this has got to be like heaven being on that West Coast in Northern California and then moving into Oregon for the week.
Oh, for sure. Maybe not so much like California because Santa Cruz is kind of like the cities and stuff like that. There's definitely some beautiful spots. Like the ocean was great. We had an Airbnb on the ocean, so that was really, really good view the whole week. But Oregon's really cool because there's a lot of cool trout streams and stuff like that I can go fishing at and catch a couple trout.
Yeah, that was my next question. Is what are you finding? Is it lakes, rivers? What are you going at? Is it tubing? I mean, what are some of the things you're finding out there?
So we were in Oregon a couple. Right before we came down for OTB and stuff, and I was just finding some rivers, some small streams, and I caught a couple trout. So I've never really done too much trout fishing because there isn't a lot of trout up in northern Wisconsin. So to come to Oregon and try to catch a couple is pretty cool.
All right, well, let's get down to business. This last weekend, of course, out there at Santa Cruz, a old school style course, as a lot of people would say. I mean, you're clearly not throwing the long open shots that we find at like an OTB, for instance. Talk about the course first and foremost. De La Viega, how do you explain it to the rest of the world?
De La Viega is it's one of a kind. It's a lot different than a lot of golf you're going to see. We've been playing a lot of golf courses all season, and to come and play, put De La right in the middle of all of them is a different change of pace, and you got to be ready for it. You got to, it's a lot to handle sometimes. Anything can happen out there. I mean, every green has bad roots. A chance of 300-foot rollaway is possible on every single hole. I mean, you can throw great shots the whole tournament and just completely get screwed. I don't know. It's really cool. It's a different kind of golf. I really enjoy that kind of golf coming from Sandy Point. There's not a root on a green that really scares me. So, I mean, there's a lot at Sandy Point, but maybe not the cliffs and the hills, stuff like that. But rollaways and, weird kicks, I'm definitely used to growing up in northern Wisconsin.
So it's funny, the statement you just made. You said you can throw a great shot, but potentially have a rollaway or get screwed. Some would say that's infuriating. Do you? I mean, is this? How do you mentally not let that destroy you or frustrate you?
Yeah, so I mean, it happened to me out there plenty of times. It happened 3-4 times out there during the tournament. So you just gotta bounce back from it. It's gonna happen to everyone. Just how you handle it. How you mentally bounce back from a bad rollaway. So yeah. You there?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yep, no, I'm still here. You there?
Okay. Yep, I'm here.
Yeah, I apologize. I heard you say that. You just have to roll with it. Everybody talks about that getting daylight. Did you see a lot of it? I mean, you said that it happened to you. Do you see a lot of it? And then is it just like something you're like, well, okay, I mean, it could happen 10 times around, or it might happen 0 times. Did you see any of it firsthand outside of your play?
Oh yeah. We had plenty of daylight situations out there. I know there was a couple shots that Kevin threw that we thought were really good, and like in person or blind shots. And then when I watched the Jomez coverage, they got a 45-foot nasty roll the wrong way. So yeah, definitely happened to a bunch of people. Happened to me. A few holes happened to me coming down the stretch on a putt. So can happen to anyone.
So talk a little bit about how you open up the tournament. You have a 14 under. You come in, of course, then with the hottest round. And I might be fancy enough to pull this up on screen. I hope I don't lose you. Let me try this for a moment. Are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay. So, we're looking at round number 1. You come in with the 14 under. You've got, here, let me click on this. There we go. So you come in with the 14 under. Next closest is Jones at the 12 under. And of course, perfectly clean, including a great start and a great finish. What were you thinking in round number 1? What was going through your mind, and how were you fully prepped for the course?
Yeah, I mean, I fully prepped for the course. I think more than anyone. As soon as OTB was open, I was here that following Monday morning. So I was, I want to get up to daylight and just get comfortable and do as many reps, many rounds as I could possibly get on a course like this. Because for me, a course like this, it comes down to like just being comfortable on each hole, finding the right disc for each shot, and then just getting reps, because you need to feel comfortable when you're throwing these really, really sketchy, low, soft landing, like buzz shots, putter shots, stuff like that. So for me, it was just, get as many reps as I could, and then come into the tournament. I didn't really set any expectations. Anything can happen out here at De La. So I just wanted to start off good, So I started the first round 4 for 4 on, I think the first 4 are pretty hard holes to get all back to back to back to back. So once I got those first 4 with a couple nice putts, it just started rolling, and I was just smooth. I didn't really get any too many bad breaks in the first round, and capitalized on a bunch of nice putts coming down the stretch to jump from could have been like a 12 under round into like a 14 under round with some big putts on the last couple holes.
Yeah, and I was just going to say what jumps off the page at me is the 49 footer on 4. Then you see a 49 footer on 8. That was to save par though. And then near the end of the round, you have the 60 footer on 23. So
yep.
Obviously putter feeling pretty good and no real issues there, huh?
Nope. Putter was, as good as it can be in the first round. And so, yeah.
All right. So we'll take a quick look at round 2 here. Of course, you have a pretty solid round. You shoot an 11 under. And I think what's really impressive still there, just the single bogey that you end up having on hole number 17. But things look pretty straightforward on round number 2. Any differences there? Any major differences for you?
Not really. A little added pressure. It's the second round. You obviously want to hold the lead you have. Got that same hot start. I think I started my round in the first 2 rounds 8 down through 12 both times, which is pretty insane at De La.
Yeah.
So I was playing the first 12 holes really, really well, and then we would get to like those backups on like the kitchen and I-5, and we had to wait like almost close to an hour to get through those few holes, and I think that kind of slowed me down a little bit, and that's when I think Kevin caught up. I got a little cold, wasn't mentally there. Definitely still was mentally there, but just lost focus for a couple of seconds. Got that bogey, which was a pretty bad bogey. I had a mental lapse there for sure.
Sure.
On a hole that's pretty birdieable. So
sure.
A little disappointed on that bogey, and then I just kind of like tried to lock down. Finish the round strong, and Kevin ended up catching me. Made some great putts, made some really good drives in the last 6 holes. So nothing too mistake. Didn't make too many big mistakes in the second round. I was trying to just stay in the tournament.
Yeah, and clearly looking at Kevin, he goes from 16 through 24 with all but one birdie to finish out the round strong, and you went 3 down in the same section where he went 8 down. So clearly picking up some strokes on you there. And then the final round, you're going into the round, you have the lead, and if I click on round 3 here, you go into that
tied.
Okay, okay, tied for the lead. Sorry. So you go into that, and then you're off to a relatively good start yet again. You're 5 under through 9 or 6 through 11. And, pressures, is there anything else, that you're thinking about at that point? Are you just fretting knowing like, oh man, I could get daylight and this whole tournament could get away from me in 2 quick holes?
Oh, for sure. That thought goes through my head every step down the fairway. Like, what hole is going to do this to me? Hopefully it doesn't happen to me. Like, it's just that thought is pretty stressful when you're playing, for a title at De La. But, Jeff Corns was just kind of there. He's like, just keep playing De La how you played in the first 2 rounds. Don't try to play, a different game right now. You play exactly what you did in the first and second round, and, it's going to fall in your favor if you can do that. So definitely nice there. Jeff kind of like, leveled my head out a little bit with that comment, and helped me out.
Well, now not to take any of the spotlight off of you, but for those who may not have known already James Proctor, and he's been around and I've known him, and if you're a fan in the last 5 years, you've known about James Proctor. But if some of our newer players just got involved since, we'll say, COVID last year, James Proctor isn't a name that they're necessarily familiar with. So maybe shine a little light on him. What do you know and see, and what was it, as he was clearly breathing down your neck during that final round, and he picks up he ends up shooting 5 strokes better than you. What's your takeaway on James Proctor for some who may not know him like they know you?
For people that don't know James Proctor is one of the nicest guys you're gonna meet on tour. He may not be at all the big events, but when he's there, he's definitely, someone to not count out. James Proctor, he can throw a rock with the best of them. His putt is unbelievable. I think it was, I'm not sure how many years ago it was, but there was a Majestic where I was playing with him on a lead card. I don't know if it was a lead card, but we were playing on the same card. I think we were at Kaposia, and he made Kaposia look silly with a mid-range and a putter. It was pretty impressive. He was throwing lines. He's a magician with a rock. He's really good.
Yeah, and then when I'm looking right now, I mean, when he's trying to apply some heat, a 38-footer, 49-footer, 38, 27, 49, and I'm sure a lot of people have now seen all this on the coverage. I'll admit I have not myself, but I mean, just looking at those numbers, he clearly was getting focused and was trying to hunt you down.
Oh, absolutely.
That's awesome. So, there's a lot of conversation, of course, about and with regard to this style of course and just the contrast that we've seen from an OTB course or this upcoming weekend, where you're going to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
Does this course fit in? Does this still do what we want it to do? Do you want to continue to see courses and events that are just like this? Being the Masters Cup?
So. Yes, because I think there's a lot of ball golf courses right now on the tour. And I think a lot of players, want to, get back in the woods and, shape their rocks and their buzzes and their discs down the fairway more than just, okay, take out my, force, my nuke and just try to rip it 500 feet every single time. I think the technicality of, a course like De La and just the woods golf, I think we're missing a little bit of it on tour right now. We haven't had much of that since, Texas. And personally, that's my favorite kind of golf. So anytime we get to play in the woods, I'm comfortable. And I'm fine in the open too, but I like the woods a little bit more.
Well, and a lot of people say, as the year goes on, every year we start open and it gets progressively tighter, basically month after month.
Yeah.
You're in Arizona, you're in Texas, you're in Vegas, and then we eventually, you're out in at DDO, and then those are all relatively open facilities for the most part. And then as you go up the West Coast, and then eventually get over to the Midwest and the East Coast, then you're hitting tight lines. Then you're finishing at a place like Charlotte. Clearly, yep. Plenty of challenge there. It feels like a natural progression to go from like open when things are a little bit rusty, to more and more wooded. But it sounds like you're ready for any challenge.
Yeah. It's definitely not easy to come from, 2 ball golf courses and then straight to a course like De La. But, I think that's what the tour needs. I think we need to have like weekends where we're playing a course that's completely different style the next weekend, just to, just kind of levels it out, makes it, a little more, even, obviously when we're playing on the ball golf courses, obviously Eagle and, like Ricky and like Simon, those guys have an upper advantage. They're going to score better than everyone. It's just how it is. So to, come to a course like De La and, get to compete and where anything can happen and anyone can win is really nice from time to time.
Yeah. Now, do you feel like there were any surprises? I mean, I would not consider you a surprise to win this event, but just in general, looking at either how someone performed really well or maybe didn't perform well, were there anything that jumped off the page at you? Any kind of surprises whatsoever?
There was a couple players, that were, not shooting to the ability they have been all year. Calvin, not to
sure
completely smash his tournament, but Calvin, didn't cash, and it just shows that De La is got teeth. It can put the 1050 guys, in their place sometimes.
Yeah,
and it's crazy. And then Ricky and Paul, I thought, Ricky and Paul have both won this tournament 4 times now each, I think.
Maybe not something Ricky, like that. Yep.
Either way, they both won it more than twice. So I thought for sure coming to this tournament, this is gonna be a Ricky battle to the end. These guys are gonna pull away. Like, these guys are the veterans. They've played this course. They've won this course. They know what to do on De La more than anyone. They've, put together the rounds here multiple times in the past. So that's what I was kind of expecting going in. I thought Ricky and Paul were going to, come out and shred, and, it never really got there.
Yeah. I mean, Paul Macbeth, of course, who I think has won this only maybe one less time than what Climo has. But, Macbeth had to move up 4 spots to get into 4th place. And then you see Ricky, who's obviously performed very well all year. On the final day, he actually, dipped down 5 spots to finish in 14th, which I guess without looking, I'd have to guess is one of his, worst performances. But I feel like that's De La. And I think it was 2 years ago, I said somebody could shoot a 12 under one round and then shoot over par the next round. And that's almost exactly what happened. I forget who it was, but that was almost exactly what happened. I mean, just De La can do that to you.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty certainly interesting to see. And like you just said, to know how good Calvin is, and this isn't picking on him, but to know how good he is, but then to have him finish outside the cash is crazy. I mean,
Really
nobody
is.
would have put money on that. If you said, I'll take $500 on Calvin not cashing, everybody would have been like, yeah, I'll take that bet. That's crazy.
Yeah. Yep.
So okay. Well, it's very cool to see that this type of course can challenge everybody in a slightly different way, and no matter how good you are, like you might get beat up, depending on how you can roll with the punches out there.
Yep. I think another thing to add to like the whole like just playing de la and competing on de la, I think you need to feel confident on the tee. You need like every single shot needs to be thought through confidently. You need to execute confidently. And if you're a little bit off, you're not feeling a little bit like as sharp confident as you possibly can, I think that's when bad things can happen, like the rolls and stuff. Like if you're not mentally focused on the tee to like the point you need to be, I think that's when the bad results start to happen out there. You need to like believe your disc isn't going to roll. You need to believe that bad things aren't going to happen. And I think that's a really good thing to like, imprint in your head out on a course like that, because once you start, you could have a bad roll away on hole 2 and then you're like, oh, well, I'm going to be negative about it for the next 3 holes. And then you get another one 2 holes later. It's like you need to bounce back and be positive off that. I know it sounds weird coming from me because I've had struggled with that stuff in the past, being positive and, trying to stay in it mentally. But on a course like that, and you really have to do it.
Well, and that's exactly it. You could throw a near perfect shot on, we'll say 24 tees, and you might shoot par. Think that can happen where it almost seems a tad unfair where 1 inch one way or another could mean the difference of a 10-footer or a 50-foot roll away uphill, that you have a 50-foot uphill putt with. So yeah, I can understand that. There's a mental toughness. So what does that say about your mental toughness that you survived this weekend? You not only survived it, but you conquered it and you stayed out on top. What does that say about your mental game right now?
Mental game for me has been a really big thing. I've said this, I think 10 times in the last few days, but GBO for me was a big learning experience. Starting positive. The big thing for me lately is, been starting around positive and finishing positive. There's a lot of times where I'll try to start positive and then, maybe by hole 3 or 4, it's not going my way. And then I get negative and then the rest of the round is negative and it doesn't result in a good score. So, coming off of GBO, I had, 2 positive rounds where I was positive the whole time. I had one where I got a little negative, around like that 3 hole 4 or 5 time. And it didn't result in a good round. So I came over to this West Coast and I had one goal in mind. I was like, you need to be completely positive on the course and you need to, go into these tournaments and don't get frustrated on bad breaks or bad shots. Once it does out of your hand, you can't do anything about it. Only getting mad is only going to make it worse. So, especially at de la, because I watch a lot of people out there, even in practice rounds, just get super frustrated really quick. And it was kind of like motivation for me. I was like, all right, I'm watching a lot of people get angry really quick in their rounds here. People are frustrated. And if you can just stay positive and, not be like that. And usually I'm like that in the past, stuff like that. So I think, that was just the big goal going to the weekend, be positive for every single shot and every single outcome. And it really, really paid off. And that's why I got emotional in my interview after. So,
well, it's good to see. I mean, everything you just said means you're growing. I mean, it means you're growing as a human. It means you're growing as an athlete and as a top level performer. And so for you to recognize any struggles you've had in the past and, or, just things you want to work on constantly moving forward, to me, that just tells me you're growing as a human and as a athlete. And when both of those are going in the right direction, that's all positive. So what does it mean to have this win in particular? That the people that have won this event, man, some of the greatest we've seen play disc golf. I mean, this is not an easy one to win. What does it mean for you personally?
This is huge. I mean, the Masters Cup is obviously one of the bigger prestigious tournaments on the West Coast, and honestly, the whole tour and all the disc golf ever. And to be able to pull it off on, the famous De La in front of, the locals and like, in front of Paul, Ricky, like those guys, I mean, people who have come to this tournament and, just shredded from years and years and years ago. And, just to be at the top and have my name amongst the people who have won this tournament in the past is unbelievable. I mean, it's not like any other tournament. I mean, winning the Masters Cup, I feel like is pretty sick.
Yeah, it's iconic in so many ways. I mean, the course is iconic, the feeling, the vibes, the people, the property, everything about it feels iconic. And now you have your name, etched in history there. So again, congratulations. Just to be very clear on that, I'm sad that the Disc Golf Network. We knew we found out we for sure couldn't broadcast live there. And that's something I kind of felt in my gut that might happen. And not having any part of the event certainly was heartbreaking, but it was cool to see that everything still was as exciting as it could have been without live coverage. Thanks to UDisc, thanks to all the post-production teams, everybody was able to follow along. So let's switch gears briefly into this weekend. Again, very different look. People are talking about how long this course is. What are some of your thoughts for the next couple of days coming up and what we're going to see at this brand new course?
I heard it's open really long. I'm assuming it's going to be another similar hard course to OTB, which I'm excited for. I really enjoyed OTB.
Okay.
I heard it's a Dustin Keegan design. I've heard good things about his design, so I'm excited to see what, kind of course he could put together. But, just tomorrow back to the grind. Tomorrow morning I got to drive up there and get my practice rounds in just like everyone else and, prepare for the next one,
Do you feel like this course, which I think was just designed and officially kind of finalized for the event, do you feel like any single person has an advantage whatsoever, knowing that this course is essentially brand new to everybody?
I mean, I haven't even seen it yet, so I really couldn't tell you whose game it's going to fit the best, but from the sounds of it, it sounds like it's long and open, so whoever can throw the disc the furthest, I think is going to have the best scoring opportunity. So I think your Eagle, your Simon, if Simon's there, I'm sure he will be. Ricky, Paul. Yeah, I'm hoping I can get my nukes to fly nice and far and smooth.
Well, so, earlier in the year, I think it was way back at the Shelley Sharp, I had pumped you up in saying that you're one of our long throwers, and then others very quickly wanted to tell, and you very humbly said, you're not one of the longest throwers out there, but give everyone, what does your distance look like? And then how do you compare? How do you feel like you compare to some of the other big throwers on the tour?
I think I'm getting up there. I threw a nuke in warm-ups at OTB Open that went 615. Then I measured a couple in practice and the tournament that were, pushing 580 in the tournament. So I'm stretching I'm stretching the nuke over 550 when I really get on it. So
I mean, sure, that's not 700 feet whenever you want it. Not that we have a lot of players that can do that, but I mean, that's some serious distance. Do you feel like when you walk up to a hole, are you at a legitimate disadvantage to anyone else out there? Do you even think about that though?
Not really. I feel like I'm, putting the disc in the position I need to, just as far. Maybe it's 30 feet of distance. It's really not too much. My scoring comes around the green, so if I can just, get the disc in play, get a nice one up there by the pin, and make a nice putt, I'm usually pretty good. So, but no, I'm usually not too worried. There's not really a hole on tour that I can't birdie, without. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of funny. That's exactly what I was going to say. And actually, I was just pulling up beyond my other screen here. I was pulling up the stats from this weekend and looking at if anything jumped out at me. And shocker, Circle 1X putts or C1X putts, 92% first in the field, and then your Circle 2 putts, you were fourth in the field. I mean, like you said, how important is it for you to be dialed in on the green? Is that where you're making up strokes on someone that might have an extra 30 or 50 feet on you?
Yeah, 100%. My Circle 2 putt has been really, really good the last 5 tournaments. It was a little inconsistent after Vegas coming into Texas, and then, it picked up right around Vintage, I think, that Silver Series we played at Arkansas. That's when the putt kind of started to come back. Worked on it really hard that week. Me and Ezra were just putting me through hundreds of putts that week. And then it finally clicked back, and, it hasn't been gone since. And, been a good weapon lately. It's been helping me keep top tens, and got me my first NT win now.
And what are you putting with? For those that don't already know, what are you putting with?
I'm putting with Discraft's new putter line hard plastic, and it is a Focus. And if anyone's ever put with Focus, I don't like to refer it to another company, but it's basically a Wizard.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Weren't you always kind of like a rubber blend before? Is this a totally different plastic type, or no?
Yes, it's a little bit different. So I believe the plastic blend right now is like Jawbreaker, and I don't even know.
Okay, yeah.
I think it's CT, so the old Cam Todd plastic, and then I think it's D plastic and CT mixed together, which gives like a grippy, stiffer, like good feel. And but the ones I was putting with, like those old like red and blue swirly ones I had last year, those were like just Jawbreaker and then CT, I believe. Yes. So a little bit different.
I feel like I'm starting to finally get old enough to where I'm confused about what in the hell all these different blends and options are. I mean, I don't want to say, well, back in my day, we only had, DX, which was true at one point, but it's funny because, of course, and whether it's a Discraft Ledgestone drop or it's something they're working on for some of the touring players, I mean, there are literally dozens of variations now of blends and plastics, and which is cool. I mean, do you have influence on exactly what you're either putting or throwing? Do you give a lot of feedback for what it is that you're throwing or what you like in a disc?
Yeah, I definitely give feedback, to Discraft about the plastics, and we've gone through like, a few plastics in the past, which one feels better, which one I like, and then, go out and make them in that plastic. I believe there's some, putters coming out soon that will be in a plastic that I prefer in the Focus. So that'll be pretty exciting. Yeah, but Discraft can like blend almost anything together and, make a lot of different blends. They confuse me as well.
Good. I'm glad I'm not the only one. All right. So, tell people, first of all, like what they can do in terms of supporting you, how they can go out there other than just Zach Melton and Zach Arlinghouse giving you shout outs for the ace. I saw that, which I thought was really cool, but awesome. Talk about DIS and purchases and websites. How can people support you?
Yeah, so my Tour Series Wasp, the 2021 versions in Z metallic plastic. They're really pretty. They are nice, straight to stable flight. If you're looking for like a buzz that you can kind of just rip on and just get that dead straight flight and not have any like problems with torque resistance, my Tour Series Wasp really good. And there's plenty in stock on discraft.com. If you're looking to pick one up, go on there. Otherwise, if you're looking for some like limited custom run type of discs, resistance discs, we have custom runs coming. There's none right now, but we're trying to get some restock here soon. So if you're looking for some limited stuff, I have some Adam Hammis hats coming that will be on resistance discs. So pretty much everything with my logo with my name will be on resistancedisc.com. I work with them pretty closely, so that's where you can support me.
Yeah, there. And of course, like you said, Discraft Pro Shop has some stuff as well. If they want to go out and shop directly on there to find some other options of yours. Last question, I got to get it in this weekend. You and I both are missing the team tournament up in northern Wisconsin. Give everyone, if somebody hasn't had a taste of what team tournament atmosphere is like up at Sandy Point, the place you and I love so much. What is that atmosphere? Kind of break it down for someone who maybe isn't familiar with what's going to go on this weekend up there.
Yeah, so Sandy Point every year has the Sandy Point Team Invitational. It's basically a bunch of teams across like the Midwest that come together. So like Minnesota will build a team, Illinois will build a team, the Southern Milwaukee will build a team, Appleton, and so on. Everyone comes together, and I think it's 12 players on a team. You guys will be playing match play, right? Is it match play?
Yep, match play. Yep.
You're playing match play against every player. You play 12. No, what was it? 12?
Six 12-hole matches.
6 12-hole matches.
Seven of them. Yeah, seven 12-hole matches. Yeah,
against the other teams, and then you get points, and there's whatever team comes out on top is the champion. It's really fun. The vibe of the tournament's so fun. You're at Sandy Point. You're on the lake there. You're in northern Wisconsin. It's one of the best weekends, and it hurts to miss it, but.
Yeah, it does. It's of course, again, I've raved about the place for many years. Adam, as you came into the sport, that was, literally your home course or just down the road from where you live. And certainly a great place to be. And, you're out on the tour doing big things, but our hearts are up at Sandy Point for the weekend for sure. Just incredible. In a few weeks, after Worlds, we see the Minnesota, the Michigan over at D-Glow Swing. Is that are you going to stop at home for a little bit and check in with the family and be able to hang out, or no?
Yep. So after Worlds, me and Jeff are gonna drive all the way up to Minocqua, which is only 15 minutes from Sandy Point, which Sandy Point's in Lac du Flambeau, which is next door cities. So, yep, gonna spend the 4th up there, see the fireworks, spend time with my family, and then hopefully jump down to Des Moines for the Des Moines Challenge on probably Tuesday morning. So the 4th on Sunday, right?
Yeah, the 2nd through the 4th, yeah, because the Silver Series Clash takes place the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. So you got it, yeah.
So yeah, I get to see
Awesome.
family after Worlds, which would be really nice.
Awesome. Well, Adam, anything else you want to share with the world before we let you go? This is a little shorter than normal, but I'm rolling solo tonight, so I'm just trying to keep all my ducks in a row. But anything you want to share with the world and shout out or anything else to say?
I just want to thank everyone for the overwhelming support with messages and just all this love I've gotten in the last few days. It's been insane, and I'm excited to win my first NT. And thank you to my sponsors, Discraft, Resistance, and Grip, and thank you, Terry, for letting me join again. Love doing it.
Of course. And I appreciate it. I know you had some stuff going on, and then your schedule reworked itself, and the fact that you got all ready to go. Well, we were at the last minute on my end. And so I appreciate you finding a way to make it work and joining us and sharing your thoughts from the weekend. So of course, huge shout out. Congratulations to all the hard work out there and taking down a very prestigious win. Any NT, any DGPT, clearly, a career moment, but ones like De La, I think, are just that much more special. So congratulations.
Thank you so much.
All right, pal. Well, have a good night. Shoot well this weekend. Me and Philo and Elaine will be calling the shots from Milwaukee, so we're going to be watching all the action, and we're looking forward to it. So best of luck to you out there this weekend.
All right, thanks so much, Terry. Enjoy that big beer.
All right, I'm gonna. Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night.
All right, cheers. Later.
All right, cheers. All right. Wow. I'm trying to click on a few buttons here, make sure everything's working. Things a little bit looser tonight, folks. And I know I don't normally get too worked up one way or another about beverages, but I do have I'm going to share. I have a Goose Island Bourbon County. It says Bourbon County brand stout. It's a large one. And I think they only make them every so often, and it's malty and rich and insanely good. Might be one of those long nights, folks. You guys better buckle up. All right. So again, thank you to Adam for joining tonight. I'm going to run through a few things. I have a few notes written up, a few details and thoughts and stories and stuff just kind of jumped off the page at me from this weekend. Some specific to, a lot of it specific to Masters Cup, some a little bit more general. And so I'd love to touch on all of that stuff, go from there. And then at some point, like any other after show, if there's stuff that you guys have for us, or should I say me this time, if there's anything you have for me, I would love to try and answer it directly for you guys. Wow. Yeah, this is kind of crazy running all of the controls. A little bit more, little more to it than when I just do my nightly wrap-up shows at large scale events. I mean, this is Tuesday night and all. All right. So, man, I made notes, like, granted 20 minutes before the show, but I made notes and I already covered two of them, Adam and James. Okay. Huge shout out, of course, to all of our top performers there. Enough with the MPO. FPO side, Paige Pierce. Paige Pierce taking down her third win in a row over the last 3 weeks. So she has picked. Is that the trifecta? Yeah, I would say that's the trifecta of the best you could ask for. She takes down a Pro Tour win, follows that up with a PDGA major, and then follows that up with a national tour. Like the three biggest types of events you could win in a 3-week stretch, and she takes them all down. All right. So, of course, congratulations to Paige. I think I might might even be able to get a little bit fancy, and I could probably pull up a few details from this weekend on the FPO side. Let me see if I can click the correct tabs. Man, Johnny, I could run this all day. And also, a quick disclaimer: everything I do is on the elementary level compared to all the fancy stuff that Johnny does, and so I need to practice with this more. But this setup's totally different. Here we go. Taking a quick look, though. Spoiler: Paige Pierce, again, your champion. She had a 5-stroke margin of victory over Katrina Allen, and then Alexis Mondahano, Juliana Korver, and Kona Panis, all finishing at that +7. So that single final stroke there, making a big difference between a 3-way tie for third and the outright second place for Katrina. But Paige, not quite as clean during her final round. She ended up shooting the +4. If we look back at round 2, she struggled a little in the early goings, but ultimately finished with an even. And then in round 1, I think she also had an even, if I recall. No, wow, I don't. She had a 3 down. So just, opened with a lead, obviously carried that through round 2. So like Adam, wire to wire, Katrina just not enough to catch up to Paige. So Paige is going to take this down. I saw a lot of jostling around. I was doing a little bit of U-disking during Sunday afternoon while I was out vending some discs, and I was just watching all of the scores and seeing them go back and forth, just huge swings, it felt like. On the FPO side, at least, just huge swings within a couple of holes, and seeing a bunch of people jump back and forth made things very exciting. Also, to take note, I got a bunch of notes, but another note off the top of my head, Paige Pierce celebrating her birthday yesterday. Congratulations, of course, to Paige. And then I think today, good friend Eric Oakley celebrates a birthday today as well. So back-to-back birthdays for Paige and Eric. Pretty cool to see. I can't think of a better way to wake up on a Monday morning after taking down Masters Cup than to be celebrating your birthday on that day. So again, congrats to Paige. Also, that I think I saw a note from one Juliana Korver. I think I saw it maybe on her Facebook. I wasn't reading her diary, I promise. Talking about playing now in the World Championships this weekend. And now I think I can see it says it's a good... Reading from her Facebook post, it's a good sign that it seems with every event I play, I am drawn to register for yet another one. I apologize to those who asked me if I was going to play Worlds before this weekend. The answer was no. On Saturday, the answer changed to I'm thinking about it. And by Sunday, the answer became yes, I will be there. So very cool. We're going to see the 5-time FPO world champion in Juliana Korver. Just for a moment, as I said that, I didn't think about this earlier, but as I said that, just think if Juliana shows up to the World Championships and she, in fact, gets to 6 and thwarts Paige's run to 6 this year. I can't think of a crazier but yet more poetic and amazing story than that. Juliana coming back to disc golf, continuing, of course, her freestyle and all of her other disc disciplines as best she can, and all the world titles she's gained in other Frisbee activities. But could you imagine if when she comes back this year to the Worlds and plays in FPO, she's the one that gets in Paige's way and then ultimately wins? I seriously, I got goosebumps just thinking about that a moment ago. I tell you, this Goose Island's got some ideas, and that is one of them. That would be incredible. And I'd go as far as saying, I don't think Paige, if Paige doesn't win and get her 6th, I think she would even agree that would be the second best storyline in the world to her, is if she were to get possibly beat by Juliana for the win. But I know she's not asking for that. She doesn't want that. But again, if there was a movie to be made, which Paige is doing, that would be such an incredible story. I don't believe I just thought of that. Anyway, so excited to see what she's going to have, and have her signed up, and she's already ready to go. Super excited to see that. Taking a look, I think that's in other interesting or cool world championship news. I'm pretty sure this is all public. I think it'd be pretty. It is really cool that we are seeing Kristen Tatar and Silver Lot. I think we talked about it last week, so I'll just touch on it. That I think they've flown to Croatia. Maybe they're with Maya and Dinko over there in Croatia, good friends. They're over there doing a 2-week work quarantine before coming over here to the U.S. to play in the World Championships. So I think they landed a day or two ago. Incredibly exciting to see that as well. Of course, top performers in silver, and then Kristen Tatar. Super excited to see them here for the World Championships in a couple of weeks. And that meant going to Croatia. I don't know if there were specific countries or how the eligibility worked. I don't know those details specifically. I believe Albert Tom had gone to Mexico. I believe he's in Mexico right now, and he's quarantining there, and then he's going to be coming here. So I don't know what all the options were or weren't on the table. That might have been specific to your home country. It might have been specific to the U.S. I don't know all the politics of that. I don't frankly care at this point. I just think it's really cool that we're going to see Albert Tom, and we're also going to see Kristen and Silver all here for the World Championships in a couple of weeks. Okay. So I want to get that shout out in there. I saw them officially take off, land, and get to Croatia, which is their first step. So super excited to see what comes of that. All right. Other notes. I'm going to quickly touch. I'm going to backtrack here for a moment. Back to the Masters Cup. Some other exciting stuff that I saw out there. Jennifer Allen taking down the FP40 division. She did it handedly. I think she won by 34. So that was a solid performance. And then also in MP40, huge shout out. Well, first of all, Patrick Brown wins. So congratulations to Patrick. Solid performance out there. In fact, I could maybe pull up the stats, but I'll just read them for you. Patrick Brown wins by a stick, a single stroke, $1,750, shooting 15 under on the weekend. So congrats to him. The secondary story to Patrick winning in the Masters division, big smashy, super supporter, one of the world's best huggers, sober or otherwise, J. Ray. Good old J. Ray of Dynamic Disc. You see him touring all over the world, all over the country. He was the only eagle that took place on the famous I-5 hole. This year it's called Hole 13. I think every year it's got a slightly different number, but Hole 13, 615 feet. Yes, he was able to two it. And if I recall seeing by his account of it, he had a throw in from about 150 feet. So taking the lone eagle of the entire weekend out of all competitors, the lone eagle on that hole is the long thrower in J. Ray. So congratulations. Nice work. Keep that super chat / Patreon money coming, J. Ray. There's your shout out. Even if you got to pay for it, we'll take it. But seriously, nice work and stiff competition there with Patrick Brown, of course, and then Shasta Chris finishing in a tie with J. Ray for second. So I should actually clarify that. And they distanced themselves from the field by 5. So nice work. J. Ray, Shasta tying for second. I mentioned Jen Allen and a significant win out there. I mean, let's put it this way. If your name didn't start with a J, you shouldn't even be competing in FP40 at this event. Lorena Dostal, the one name that didn't start with a J, I believe suffered an ankle injury. So Lorena, I hope you heal up. I saw a post about it. I hope you heal up and feel better. But we had a Jennifer, a Jenny, a Jennifer, a Jenna, and a Jessica. Juliana, you could have played FP40 and you could if it's the protocol. And then also noting Another J, Jonathan Baldwin, JB, your 2011 Masters World Champ. JB takes it down in dramatic fashion. I hope some of you saw the Facebook post. If you can, go find Jonathan Baldwin's Facebook post. He went into a playoff with Robert Bainbridge. They had similar putts, about 50, 55 feet, and JB went first and canned it in the playoff opening hole, sudden death, to take down the MP50. So nice work. Other winners include Kevin Couch in the MP60. So congratulations, Matt, crew. I know there's a lot of conversation, and that could go on for days or hours and days and weeks about the course, the style, what the expectations. I know there was some other additional criticism that came about. I saw some Facebook posts and some Instagram posts, and I'm not going to dismiss them. I'm going to say those are all continue to be part of our learning, our learning curve. They all continue to be part of our growing pains. And what I've noticed about the last few times that we've seen some frustration with our players and what's being offered out there, it feels like a lot of it can be attributed to the fact that the bar is getting raised. And so when I say growing pains, I mean them in the most complimentary ways. For things that used to be maybe no big deal are now becoming a deal, and then they're getting fixed and addressed. And then we have to move on to the second, the third, or the 10th thing that maybe we never really considered an issue before. And to me, that's growth. That's progress. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. I mean, no promoter, no disc golf advocate or designer or tournament director, it wakes up thinking, man, I'm really hoping to disappoint somebody today. Nobody's doing that. Sometimes they fall short, or sometimes they do 110% and it still just misses the mark and they don't even know it. I mean, there are so many scenarios, and I'm very fortunate that I've worn the hat of being a tournament director for 300 events plus, including a Worlds in 2007. Like, to know you cannot please everyone all of the time. And that's not to say you give up and you try to please no one any part of the time, but it's a tall task. And I know running events is huge, and everybody has a different agenda when they're trying to do it, and everyone has a different hopeful outcome. I guess that's another word for agenda. But sometimes clubs want to run events because they want to showcase a course. Sometimes they want to highlight a sponsor. Sometimes they just want to get the best players in the world into town. There are so many different reasons why people host events, and sometimes those align with the players perfectly, and sometimes they don't. And then there's history, there's nostalgia, there's tradition. Sometimes those carry more weight than they should, and then sometimes there's not enough of that's built in. There's no perfect solution. I see posts that ask about, well, so-and-so won this tournament. Should they have an automatic exemption to make sure they're qualified for the next year? Sure. Where do you draw that line? What happens when they want to play an age-protected division? I mean, I could give you guys a million examples, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. But point is, we're all growing. Tournaments are getting better. Purses are getting insane compared to what we used to have. And expectations are increasing. And I'm going to say it without calling out any of our pro players, so they can maybe ponder, maybe they don't care. I think some of our pro players' expectations are not out of reach or out of line. I just think are unrealistic or ahead of their time. And then you could say, well, if you don't reach for, the stars, you'll never land on the moon, or whatever that saying is. I understand that as well. But sometimes, as a promoter, as either an ex-player or as a media guy or as a tournament director or as a spectator, even I look at some of the things that get said and I blow it off as like, that's crazy. I mean, what planet are you on? I mean, everybody's working, and I think our players know that. our media crews know that. Everybody's working to try and put forth the best effort, and I can't say it enough. Constructive criticism that's just that constructive is the only way to do it. We say all the time, when you hear anyone or see someone post, oh, blank, such and such sucks, or this is trash. Okay, well, why? And if you're not giving some form of directed, precise and directed, I'll say direction. That's not the word I'm looking for, but if you're not looking for something specific and you can give some tangible or some very specific scenarios and details, you just say, oh, this sucks. That's worthless. I mean, I think a lot of you already know that. So, all right. I think that was a small enough, but yet random rant. I think I've covered everything on the Masters Cup, at least that crossed my plate. Now, total disclaimer, which I could have given you an hour ago. I saw literally zero of the Masters Cup. So you could say, Terry, you're just rambling. You didn't even watch the tournament. I didn't. I had a lot of other things going on this weekend. I watched, of course, via UDisc a little bit, and I saw a lot of the social media posts, but I did not consume 1 minute of post-production by any of the teams. That's never been a slight. It never will be a slight. I just had other stuff going on. So getting the scores and going from there for me was good enough. Had I prioritized the time, I could have consumed some, but I love Dela. I love the players. I can guess their struggles were real out there. Okay. Real quick, I'm going to do a sidebar tangent offshoot to this with regard to tournaments. This one hits a little closer to home, so I'll just and I'm going to get in and get out on it, or get up and get off of the soapbox on it. Here's a rule of thumb. Do not, and I repeat, do not go to any public or maybe even private disc golf course or facility and stake your claim to running a tournament there without all of the proper considerations. So that means next weekend, don't show up to your favorite course and say, oh yeah, me and 5 buddies or 2 buddies or myself, well, yeah, we're running a tournament here and other people aren't welcome to even be here because we're taking over the whole park. Get permits, talk to the right people. Don't do that. That's what I will say. Most, and this is not every, most public facilities in this country will either require an official approval and or an official permit of sorts in order for you to host a tournament. Now, I'm not talking about you and your 10 buddies that are all getting together next Saturday and you're just going to go out and you're going to play around and there happens to be 10 of you, so you're in 1 or 2 or 3 groups, whatever. Maybe even to some degree a traveling league, that's got a few dozen people, may or may not be a consideration. But if you're planning on hosting a full-blown disc golf tournament that you're promoting and advertising as such, go through all the proper channels. That might be the city, that might be the parks department, that might be the local club. Maybe the local club's all you need because the local club has that authority or is the liaison to the city. Whatever the case might be. And again, everywhere is different. I have run hundreds of tournaments. Find out the proper protocols and procedures and do not just show up and stake your claim to a course or a facility without running it up the ladder correctly. And besides the common courtesy of doing that to everyone else, what you might do is you might burn some bridges. You show up and you do things on behalf of your event that could permanently burn bridges with other people that want to be legitimate. It could be the actions that you've done. There's just so many things that can go wrong. And this has happened here in Wisconsin many, many years ago. We're talking decades ago. Many years ago, somebody hosted an event at a facility that was not on the up and up. And at that point, once the parks director found out about it, they said, yeah, no more events here ever, like ever, until that guy dies or retires. And even then, he may still pass on the note. Just don't do that, people. I get really frustrated and upset, and I'm not saying I've done 100% of everything in my life, 100% on the up and up, but here's something I've learned, and here's something I can pass on is make sure you go through the proper channels, secure the permits, secure the permissions, whatever the case might be. It might be as easy as calling the local parks department, and you say, hey, I'd like to host a tournament there in 2 weeks. It's going to be Saturday, and we want to use the whole course. And they say, cool, go for it. It might be that easy. I'm not suggesting it has to be difficult or expensive, but it might be. It might be difficult and expensive. Either way, do it properly. And that is all. I'm going to go on with that soapbox. Oh, and if you show up, don't be a jerk to everyone else. If you're already not doing it correctly, don't show up and be a jerk to every other person that second guesses or wonders at what's going on. All right, guys. Rob, if you're asking what event, I mean, I'm not going to get into any of that. I just know that there's just proper procedures. There's proper things, and Galactic Conquerors talking about there's a club that does doubles during a prime time. Hey, I'll say, and this goes with leagues and tournaments, if things are done through the proper channels and you don't like it, that's one thing. But I want the proper channels to be explored. I want the proper people to be involved, the decision makers, the landowners, the caretakers, whatever that might be. Again, you could disagree with your favorite course, and you work on the north side of town, and you only work there 1 day a week, but that 1 day a week is Tuesday night, and that's when 150-person doubles happens, and you think that sucks. I get that. But at least they should have permission to be doing something out there, and that's what I'm asking for. I get that you can disagree with it, but get all the proper permissions out there. Okay. You guys are talking about some stuff, which surprisingly not surprisingly, I'm not able to pay attention to all of right now. I'm going to get to that in the after show, which might be coming up here sooner than later. I don't know if there's anything else major that I feel like I need to talk about here on our regular show. If I didn't discuss it already, Johnny V is out. He is in Florida with his family. His company is yet gobbling up another company. So Johnny works for one of the largest title companies in the Midwest, in fact. And then they go around putting all the other smaller mom and pop businesses out of business by gobbling them up and consuming it. I mean, he works at the Walmart. I'm just kidding, but not. So they are doing an active buyout of a smaller firm in Florida. So Johnny V was able to go down there. He was overseeing that office and executing the takeover. And he was actually getting them all up to speed with the new company stuff from a technology perspective. Those are fancy terms, by the way, technology stuff. He was getting them all up to speed from the IT side of things, and then also was able to then incorporate that and work his family into a little vacation time down there. So hope Johnny's enjoying his time down in Florida. Much, much deserved break and vacation. We already talked about this upcoming weekend. I can't say I know a ton of details. Mo, our producer, sent out a message saying that this is going to be the longest course we've seen, maybe all year. So I hope it's good. I trust that Dustin Keegan does work, but I personally, my arm gets tired just thinking about 11 and 12,000 foot courses. So We'll see what that exactly means and how that's going to shake out this weekend. Looking forward to it for sure. Let me do a super quick look on PDGA, just in terms of any other events that might be jumping out from this past weekend. There was, of course, a whole bunch of next gen events taking place. I'm going to do a separate recap of those and release those on the Disc Golf Guy Facebook page. So excited to go through those. Oh yeah, of course. The other A tier, big A tier, Cameron Messerschmidt taking it down out there in Washington, the Fort Steilacoom Open. Congratulations to Cam. Right on his tail was Andrew Marweed, and then in a tie for third, we had Bradley Williams and Nathan Queen. Those were on the MPO side. Excuse me. On the FPO side, a pair of Melodies went at it. Melody Bailey from out there took it down. She had a 2-stroke victory over Melody Wabel. So congratulations to Melody Bailey. And Das Loomis took down Masters. Yeah. So that's was one of the other bigger events taking place in the country this weekend. I'm going to just quickly scroll down the list. Again, a bunch of next gen events, which I'll break down separately. And then just shy of 1,000 other tournaments took place. So clearly a busy weekend. 2 big events, of course, taking place this weekend, being the Portland Open, which we're covering live on Disc Golf Network, and then also a 560-person Tennessee State Disc Golf Championships taking place this weekend. And we see the likes of Chris Dickerson, Johnny McRae, James Snappy Cole, and Justin Bonnell all are your top 4 highest rated MPO players there. So that's I feel like the other big event outside of the Pro Tour event taking place. Heather Young, Macy Walker, Christine Jennings, and Sarah Cunningham on the FPO side. So best of luck, of course, to all of them, and then some. All right, guys. Holy cow. I don't think I have anything else. I managed to ramble, managed to talk to my daughter, managed to talk to Adam Hammis, and Johnny's probably in Florida watching, snickering right now. But I think I'm going to close out what I consider to be the regular show, the after show. That might get a little bit crazy here tonight. I'm going to close this out and then give a 2-second break and then come back and give you guys what I would consider, I guess, the after show, where I'm going to get like fully involved with what you guys have going in on the chat board. I'll answer any questions. I'm going to show off probably a few Frisbees in my office since everybody seems to get in. Oh, I should do an unboxing. I've got a couple boxes here I have not opened that have arrived in the last few months. And I always keep thinking I'll do it on Instagram. If you guys really care and you have nothing better to do, maybe you'll see what's in the box. Maybe I'll open a box or two here. Something that's arrived at my house. I'm not sure. And like I said, if you've sent anything in the chat board, I do appreciate it. I did not read it. So if there's stuff you want to address with me, we'll do that in the after show. But for now, I'm going to call it. This seems like a podcast in itself. I'm going to thank my daughter, Kenzie Miller, who hopefully is sleeping by now. I'm going to thank Adam Hammis for joining us. I'm going to thank all of you guys for having the patience and the understanding to sit with me here on a solo night and running the controls. I very much appreciate the, like I said, the patience and understanding. I'm looking forward to digging into a few more things here after that. So I'm going to stand down for just a moment. We'll get a full-blown reset, and then we'll see you in the after show. Again, I'm the Disc Golf Guy. This has been Smashbox episode 352 for the regular podcast. We'll see you in a few moments for the after show when you and I step inside the Smashbox. Thank you to all of our $2 and above Patreon subscribers. I don't have that list with me, but they would be scrolling right now. So if you do support us in any way, shape, or form, we appreciate it. Woohoo! You still there? All right, deep breaths. You can do this, Terry. You can do this. Don't be nervous. Don't be drunk. Hello? Hello? It's me? I've been wondering. Okay. All right, guys. Are we here for the after show? Is that what you guys are all here for? Are we ready to go? Is that the best, most dramatic intermission I could have ever given you guys? I'm trying to confirm if we are good to go and if that in fact is working. And maybe it sounds like we're good. We're back. After show. All right. Sounds like you guys, I don't know what I clicked on. I get out the needle nose pliers, and then next thing you know, it's nothing but trouble. So it sounds like we are back. Oh my gosh. So good to know. Here we go, folks. I was giving my shout out to my unofficial sponsor of the evening, the Goose Island Bourbon County Brand Stout. If you guys know anything more about these people, this thing, let me know. Oh my goodness. Here we go. I'm going to do my best to keep up with the chat. And from there, who knows what's going to happen. You can do this. You're right, Carney Show. Here's what I'm going to do. And I know this is kind of a weird after show, but we're in my house. So we're going to play by my rules tonight. I'm not at Johnny V's house. Maybe you heard me say it earlier. He's in Florida. All right. And maybe it's getting a little warm in here. I have a couple of boxes that have arrived in the last few weeks, months. Sometimes I get a box that I think I know what's in it, but I'm not going to do anything with it anyway. So I just set it aside. It's kind of like Christmas. It's kind of like planting Easter baskets around, but then it's Easter or Christmas like to randomly open them some other time. And maybe if it goes long enough, I forget what was in fact in that box. And then it's really a surprise when I open it later. And it's always going to be something fun. I do the same thing with money. If I find money in a pocket, I just put it right back in there because I'm like, oh, I'll find this another day and that will be fun. Okay? Don't ever go through my pants pockets. Here we go. First, I do know what's here, but I haven't looked at them or opened them. So if this is what you guys want. Now, if you guys want something else, you're going to have to wait because I'm doing this anyway. So here's what we're opening with during the after show. I've got a box. This is not a paid advertisement by Dynamic Discs. In fact, I think it's they should pay me. Maybe not. Let's see what we got. I do know, well, I kind of know what's in here. I know I ordered stuff, but then I ordered additional stuff, and I don't know what the additional stuff will be. Okay. What island is that? What year? So, oh my gosh. Shift one photo. You are talking my language. It says 2020 on the tag. I had one of these earlier in the year. Last year. I don't know. And I was like, again, most of you know me. There's about 3 beers I really like. So I'm not a beer. Well, does that make me a bigger or a worse beer snob? I don't know. But there's only about 3 that I like. But when I do like them, like Dirty Bastard by Founders, I love them. Okay. Nate and Val have identified my palate as rich, more so malty and sweet. Dirty Bastard fits that category. And I think a lot of stuff that's bourbon barrel aged also helps that. And this is a Bourbon County brand stout by Goose Island. It says 2020 on the tag. I'm not going to lie. If I could have no other beverage the rest of my life in terms of alcohol, also I could go the rest of my life without never drinking another beverage, alcoholic beverage. I'd be okay with that too. But this would do it for me. This would be on the top of that list. September last year, 14.6. I don't condone. Okay. Here's what I do condone. Buying some of these. Holy cow. All right. All right, it's yellow, which isn't my favorite color. First one. It's a fuse. Boom. Oh, focus for me, please. P.S. I love you. Or Paige Shoe. I love her in a different way. Not the way Grady does. Paige Shoe. Fuse. Sweet. I got also another disc. Well, this is a Paige Shoe Trespass. And a Paige Shoe double stamped. Let's see if that focuses. Harp. So pretty cool. Paige Shoe. Yeah. And that weren't even all the goodies. I'm going to save the other box for another day, but there's another box from her. Super glad to support her and Grady and just everything they have going on. So here's another box. This one comes from a different, well, this comes from a retailer, and I'm a big fan of this guy. And I'll be the first to admit, I don't often go out of my way to go after some particular disc, but sometimes you just have to. Paige Shoe discs seem like a good one to do. I've bought tons of Tour Series discs and support discs from tons of our players throughout the years. I'm going to go as far as saying, present company excluded here, I'm going to go as far as saying I've bought Tour Series discs from people I don't even love, but I like to support them. All right. Couple goodies. I do like these people as well, or this person, as I do with Shoe. But just double checking. Yes, this is an Origin by Discmania, who's never supported the show. But I support this guy and some of the work he's doing. So good old Kyle Klein. Super happy to pick up some Kyle Klein Origins to support that young superstar. Been very blessed to have seen so much of the work he's done literally since he was a kid. He's still a kid. He was so impressive when I met him years ago. I met him 2 or 3 years ago now at a Next Gen regional event. And at that point, I talked to him, I interviewed him. He had some serious game then, and clearly he's just continued to prove it throughout these last few years. And I'm going to go on a quick side tangent before I show you the next Frisbee. That's probably one of the most gratifying things that I do in my career is going to Am Worlds, going to Junior Worlds, going to Next Gen tour stops or finales, and seeing our up-and-coming young superstars, and then seeing them before they've even maybe hit the big stage. And in a totally selfish way, that's part of what excites me so much is when Kyle Klein gets onto the lead card at the MVP Open, like, I know the kid. I've seen what he's done. I know what he's capable of. And I've seen him perform in other places. And that's not to take away from what he's doing in the present moment, but it also just solidifies some of the thoughts and some of the things that I've seen him accomplish and seen his tone and demeanor and what I know he's capable of, even in other ranks, amateur ranks or whatever. That's probably one of the most gratifying things that I do in my entire disc golf career. And one thing I want to expand upon with that is doing more interviews with maybe people you've never heard of. And I'm okay with that. Obviously this show, SmashBoxxTV, frequently focuses on our top winners and our top performers. And usually it's kind of the news of the week and those people. And obviously, those are all of our sports superstars, but there's so many other additional stories and so many other people out there, and they don't even have to be winning other events. I just think there's a lot of other stories out there. So if you do see me with an additional podcast or some other interviews, that's probably the format in which it will go, is to highlight the hundreds of other people that maybe we're not going to see yet on a SmashBoxx TV. So, all right, that's a lot of rambling words. Here is an Instinct, also with another Kyle Klein logo on it. I'll put it right over my face. So, got a couple of sweet discs, I think these ultimately came from one of his sponsors in Great Lakes Disc. So thank you guys. I purchased these. No special favors, and I don't need any because I'm glad to support him. And here's a call out, not in a good way. Also from Michigan, we need SmashBox. I'm guessing this is SmashBox Smashy. Mike Rivamonte. I'm calling you out, Mike. I'm not going to put your old address on here. It doesn't matter. It's not getting to you. Mike, I've got your Patreon disc. It came back to us. So, Mike, reach out to me so we can get your Patreon disc. We've had a number of those. And if you reach back out to me, we'll make sure to spend the additional $4 and change to resend it to you because we want to make sure that you have your Patreon disc. All right, people. Let's take a look. This is the time in the show where Terry gets a little rambly and tries to keep it all together. I am going to take a look at the YouTube chat. This isn't on Facebook tonight, so we'll see what we've got going on. All right. A few names without me scrolling up. I am taking a look. I see Eric Oakley. I've already given him the shout out. It's his birthday today, so happy birthday to Eric Oakley. Some people are talking about getting your PDGA numbers. Daniel was suggesting that was guessing that I was opening EMAC judges. That would have been a great guess, but instead this time coming from the shoes. So thank you so much to them. Juliana had asked, so that's the original goose. I don't know what this is. I just know I think it was a special release of some kind. I don't know what it is, but to me it's heaven in a bottle. If you like that sort of thing, that's what I'll say. Some people are saying it's strong. Yeah, apparently it is. Who would have known? Looks like there's some conversation as to wines. I'm not going to get into any of that. Louis T says, Miller, you're smashing it tonight. Thanks. I'll take that. Where are those black zones? A few of you saw some black zones earlier. Somebody made a post about me offering up some Ledgestone zones. Big shout out to Ledgestone and their pro shop with regards to some black zones I was offering this last weekend. Maybe you're talking about those, or maybe you're talking about the 4-claw ones. Those are hidden. Come on. But I got a couple other black discs I'll share with you, since black discs are always cool. Here's one of the coolest you could ask for, signed by last year Hall of Fame class member, one Valerie Jenkins. That is an autographed Discraft. Hopefully that's in focus. I'm not looking. An autographed Valerie Jenkins Hall of Fame 2020 disc. That is black with a signature by Valerie. Pretty cool. Another one just at my fingertips, so I thought I'd share. Here's a little walk down. Here's a history lesson. This is specific to Wisconsin, and quite a few of our listeners know this, if you're anywhere in the Midwest. The Wisconsin Disc Golf Tour, which has been taking place for 25-ish years at least, because I've been doing it that long, has grown from 4 tournaments to upwards of 18 or 20 tournaments now. The Skyline Classic I ran a few months ago was in fact on the Wisconsin Tour. We have all these various tournaments throughout Wisconsin. It's a state series, just like a lot of other states. That we happen to have had one that's been going on for at least 25 or now 30 years. Last year, of course, due to COVID, things got messed up. Some events didn't happen. Some got postponed, so on and so forth. Thanks to sponsorships, whether it was Discraft or Innova this year or Legacy at 1.2, at some point, one of our godfathers of disc golf or one of our tournament directors or tour directors thought every single person that wins, this might have been Mike and Michelle Cousins of Sandy Point. This might have been Randy Shukar. I apologize because I don't know the official person or people. It's probably the Cousins. Thought it would be cool that in addition to winning a division that's recognized by our tour, you would get an additional memento of that. And at one point, it became a black disc. And let's little history lesson again. Black discs are more common today than they were 20 years ago or 30 years ago. It just, not a lot were made. And now they're made for usually special occasions. They're still somewhat of a rarity, but black discs are certainly more demanded today than they were 25 years ago. And so with that, with them being somewhat rare, we had a thing in Wisconsin where we said that if you won a tour recognized division, you would get what then was deemed the most coveted black disc. And so this year, or should I say 2020's version, every year the stamp changes. It's a multi-foil stamp. And the last couple of years we've worked with Innova. And so this is last year's. And so what's remained consistent throughout the last probably 20 years now, John Dorn, Tom Holston, a number of artists have worked within this range. We have these gold rings that go around, and they say Wisconsin Disc Golf Tour, but then the artwork on the inside, I'm doing this backwards without looking, the artwork on the inside changes, and then it says tournament champion. So you win an event, and then every divisional winner, if it's on the Wisconsin Tour, also in addition to all the other trophies and accolades and prizes and payouts, also gets the most coveted black disc. And that's what this is, because the only way you win this is, of course, by winning a Wisconsin Tour tournament. So the funny part is, this is a upheld tradition within Wisconsin, but not necessarily as revered as some other participants. So when someone would come from, say, Illinois and win an event in Wisconsin, how dare they? There was even people that would then take this very trophy identified disc and then go out and throw it. And to us, that was like blasphemy. That was like crazy. That was, you just don't do that, right? Well, you do what you want. You win a disc. I mean, discs are meant to be thrown, right? So Kale Leviska is another great example of an out-of-stater who has won plenty of these coveted black discs out of Wisconsin. Now, Kale typically not throwing them. They've been AVRs for many years. So him being sponsored by Discraft and Prodigy, it was never really a thing for him. Nico LaCastro, I think somehow got his had been putting with one or more for a little while. So it's just some funny history, not really funny, but some legitimate history. And then last year, of course, due to COVID, we ultimately had them that overstamped with, COVID or whatever on them, so that to denote like, hey, you didn't win that. Now I have one because I run Wisconsin Tour events. I run one or two of them, and therefore had some available, or I'm given one as a tournament director. I've won some, but and those are some of the most, I don't have any on my walls. Those are some of the most memorable. I mean, that's like one of the highest honors you can get here in Wisconsin. All right. Those are some random frisbees. Nobody needs to see those. So there's a little history lesson on some black discs, at least within Wisconsin. I'd love to know, do you guys throw black discs? Do you care about black discs? Do you seek them out? Are they only collectibles in your world? Do they hold any special, more or less value? Do you, plenty of people stay away from them and are like, I'm not throwing a black disc. That's hard to find. And I can understand that. That's certainly a consideration as well. So, but I'd love to know if you guys put it in the comments as to, or do you guys have any kind of unique additional recognition when winning a series stop or a club-based stop or something of that nature? That's what I'd love to know. All right. I'm going to read a few comments. I'll ramble about some other stuff. New favorite disc, Shift One Photo says, is the RPMP Waka Waka. I concur. That's a phenomenal disc. It really is. Tim says, I can do this. Appreciate that, Tim. Lee Adams says, I look forward to Terry interviewing more less-known pros. I feel like it will help the sport, bringing us closer to more names, stories, and skills. Just to quickly touch on that again, the one downside is not the right word. I will have to resist and continue to maintain because I have to anticipate some of those won't be watched or listened to or downloaded. Some of those will not be fan favorites because they're going to be unknowns. If I'm talking to the hottest superstar out of that's happens to be 15, that's won 3 out of 4 events in pro in Washington State, there's plenty of the country that will tune that out, and I'm okay. I'm not doing it for views. I'm not doing it for the count, or I wouldn't be doing this for the counts or the downloads or the analytics. But I also have to keep in mind, like, that's not the purpose. That's not the point of doing it. I do want to do it to help out those players, to help provide a platform, to help tell the story, to help archive things, because when that 15-year-old turns into the 21-year-old that's won the world championships, we have this really cool thing to reference. But that I feel like is something that deters a lot of young content creators of any kind, whether it's Instagram or Facebook or YouTube's or whatever. You're like, oh, I'm not getting the views, I'm not getting the eyeballs. So you can't worry about those types of things. And I'll be the first to admit, those are things that can be very easily discouraging. I could put a lot of effort into interviewing this made up 15-year-old from Washington State, this bizarre scenario I'm making up, and then, see that 6 weeks later, it has 77 views. I can't be discouraged by that, but I think a lot of people would be, and I'll admit I can understand why. But to answer you, Lee, I still want to do it. Thoughts about the Des Moines Challenge? I think it's about 6 hours from me. I think Des Moines is an incredible place for disc golf. There's a ton of history. There's a lot of great players that have either played there or come from there, but and they run a good show. So I don't know the exact courses that will be used. And even if you did tell me the 3 courses that are used, it's been a long time since I've really consumed Des Moines disc golf. They're a mecca. They're a great place to be, but and I played all the world's courses in 2004, and I visited once or twice since then. But I'm ready for a refresher, and I think the whole world probably will be too. Jordan says, before the final hole at De La, Kyle complains about not being able to make a putt inside the circle, throws a money forehand, and gets a De La roll out to 50 feet or so. Cans it. The dude is hilarious. I mean, yeah, that is kind of funny. Yeah, there's just so much to be said about De La and playing there, and the patience and the overall tenacity and patience. I don't know if there's a better word. Resilience. I just, I had the pleasure of playing there a couple times, including the 2011 Worlds, which I just told an embarrassing story to Nate Doss about recently. But yeah, De La it's special and unique for a lot of reasons. To the people that get it, I understand why you get it, and to the people that don't, I also understand why you don't. Yeah, I understand all of that. I'll have one for you at Ledgestone, Terry. Shift One Photo says, if you're talking about my boy, which has been sitting in my fridge for probably months now. I bought it because somebody had it. Brian Bayman, shout out. He had one, and I was like, that was incredible. And then I ended up finding one randomly, and then I put it in my fridge for months. Tonight was the night. And now I am so sorry to see you go. That would be very sweet of you. Can you just get those? I heard they were limited edition. Like they were somehow rare or limited or something. They weren't cheap either. All right. Iowa native transplant in Washington State. Never been to Des Moines courses. Well, you got to check them out. They're incredible. Juliana says they do special releases on different kinds of Goose Island bourbons every November. That's why I was asking if it was just the original Goose Island or if it was a different. I think it was a special one, but I'll do more research. And if any research you guys can do, I'll take. We should get together. Jordan saying, "Oh, you guys are getting together for manis and petties and beers and having too much fun." All right, slow down with your Eventbrite invitations out there. All right. Dave White says Hannah and Kevin Jones do a great job in the booth. See too many rooting for players, not their job. Was Hannah on commentary again this weekend? Is that? Oh, I'm sorry. You probably meant Hannum, maybe. I don't know. I'm already lost. Let's keep scrolling. Where possible find. I want the blue and pink Prodigy shirt Kevin wore in round 2. Also, those shades Barsby was sporting. I mean, Barsby's always got the shades game going on. There's no doubt about that. Emily says, SmashBoxxTV, our local A-tier in Greenville, North Carolina, the Down East Players Cup. Registration open tonight and already has 11 FPO, including me, Elaine King, Ellen Widboom, Holly Finley, and Deanne Carey. I did see that registration open tonight, and that is very cool. I saw some top-level MPO players get signed up as well, but the fact that there's already 11 signed up on FPO side is awesome. I hate that Mackenzie, who was here earlier, I don't hate Mackenzie, my daughter, but her birthday's October 21st. And I think I saw the event starts on the 22nd, which would mean I would travel on the 21st, or I would stay from the Players Championship into the... that event sounds amazing. I have to think about what October is going to look like already, though, especially knowing the Throw Pink women's event is taking place along with the USDGC, along with the Pro Tour Championships. I can't disappear for months at a time, as much as I want to sometimes. Another Des Moines Challenge question. Will you be there? As of right now, I don't know. I don't know if that weekend has been officially formalized, because that weekend is filling in for the PCS Sula Open. And so I think we're still trying to organize a few details. I think that also goes up against the juniors event, the Junior World Championships in Emporia. And I know what I said earlier about Junior Worlds. I've been there the last 2 years that Emporia and DD has offered it. Last year it didn't happen. So they're hosting it this year. Excuse me. I think we're still trying to work through personnel options, what's available, and I guess we'll have to see how that's going to unfold. The funny part is, if I were to not be in Des Moines, I would be at the Junior Worlds, and I would almost literally be driving through Des Moines to get to the Junior Worlds. Geography is fun for you guys at home. Maybe not. Why are you guys still watching? What is going on here? I'm just rambling. All right. Vincent says, if we get a good enough FPO group, it could be a future feature card for round 1. I mean, you already listed enough people. There's no doubt about good feature cards, although people could argue about feature cards. But if you're in favor of them, it sounds like you already have one lined up right there. All right. Honor me. Bring back the wood headphones. I appreciate that, RD. I can't, because they're over at Johnny V's house right now. So the wooden headphones, the LSTN headphones, which buy a hearing aids for every pair that was purchased, it bought a hearing aid, I believe. Yeah, those are over at Johnny's house. So I can't, I don't have those right now. Although I could go over to his house. I've got a key. I only putt with black putters, Vincent says. I can understand that. All right. Let me keep rolling. Yep. Avery mentioned when Terry was a good player. I'm not sure what that was in reference to. I used to be okay. At one point, I was all right. Cashed in a couple worlds. 995. With EMAC inflation, he says that should have been about a 10-15 in today's age. But whatever. That was yesterdecade. I don't got time for that. They mentioned that Terry was a one-time number 2, I think MA1 nationally, behind, I think, Felberg. That's that I don't hang as much credit on as some of my pro accomplishments. But in 1999, I did finish second place to Dave Felberg for the advanced points earner. So just like today, we have points champions or earners or whatever. And as an advanced player, I played a ton. Obviously, Dave Felberg at one point was on the road playing even bigger events more often. But in 1999, somebody fact check this. I'm almost positive. 1999, though, Dave Felberg was the number one MA1 advanced points earner in the country. He was traveling around in a van, RV, with Avery and Todd Branch and Al Shack playing all of the biggest tournaments in the world. And he finished number one. And I was not doing that. I was in college and I finished, and I'm not, that's not an excuse, but I was in college and I played a ton of big events. I played a lot in the Midwest and almost every weekend, but I finished second to Dave Felberg. I have a pin, a PDGA pin somewhere that says just that. 1999. I went pro in the year 2000. In the year 2000. It's an old Conan O'Brien reference, if you're not as old as me. Lee says, I had 2 4-time Paul Macbeth Undertakers that were black. They were my favorite discs. Lost them both. Shocked, not shocked. It's all I can reply to that. Gatekeeper is awesome. I don't know what that was in reference to, but I'll second that. Gatekeeper is, in fact, awesome. I'm sure it's something to do with coverage. Vincent says, Emily Garner, if Terry wanted to come out, we wouldn't be opposed, is what Vincent's saying. Well, I appreciate that. Chainbanger, Carolina Chainbanger says, only black putters for me. Gateway Black Magics. Black putters matter. Yeah, here's what I'll say to any particular color, and it depends on where you live. If your putter gets too warm, based on it just lying on the ground or being in your bag or something like that, or you're practice putting and then you leave them out, like that's the one thing that I don't like about, say, a black putter, is that I feel like it's too susceptible to heat or sunlight. That would be my only answer or my only response to that. But if that doesn't bother you, then no big deal. Pete says, I love that you've had a consistent prize for events that are similar year after year. Keep that history alive, meaning the black Wisconsin, the most coveted Wisconsin Tour disc. Yes, I like that as well. Terry might film the FPO feature, Emily says. Wow, am I getting volunteered for work months in advance? My upshot putter is a black KC Pro. The mid-range is a black Buzz. Okay. All right. I need to keep scrolling here. I'm going to jump ahead just a little bit. Pickard is a course in Des Moines that was at least part, if not fully, designed by Juliana Corver. Very cool. Yep. I played that in the 2004 Worlds. All right. Disc Blaster. I don't know if I should pre-read this, but I'm going to go without it. Terry will be shocked to hear that I'm happily banned from my local club. Well, they gave me the option to not be a jerk or leave the club. I chose my freedom. Why does my nose keep itching? I don't do any drugs. That doesn't surprise me, Disc Blaster. That does not surprise me. After the way you've represented yourself on some of my YouTube postings, that you choose to not clean up your act and or be more polite or courteous, and instead you choose your freedom, doesn't surprise me. Keep at it. You do you. Keep on keeping on. I don't know what cliche you want there, but that does not surprise me. All right. How about those FPO players coming out and playing great in no shock? I mean, well, it's incredible. And when I say no shock, I mean that as a compliment. Someone like an Ella Hansen, who clearly was known for her long throws, and then for her to pick up. Now, what's impressive, I think the most impressive part about Ella is maybe not that she's able to throw a disc far. I guess that's kind of was already in her DNA, but the fact that she can adapt on the green. And I mean, now she just needs, I mean, she's learning, but course management, probably some kind of patience, or aggressiveness, or a combination of both. I guess those are other words for course management, and just some experience, learning courses. I mean, some of these women have played Dela for the last 10 years in a row, and this might have been her first time seeing it, or whatever, insert any course. Most of the courses and most of the places she's going are places that are going to be foreign to her and never seen by her before, versus some of our other more veteran women who have seen it 5 or 10 or 20 times. And so once she gets that experience, she's proving she clearly has game. And of course, you got to be excited to see what she's going to be able to do here in the future. How can you be anything but excited about that? Unless you're going to get beat by her, it's got to be exciting. Lee talks about people volunteering. I'm not sure what that's. The new elevation koi looks very interesting. I can't say I know anything about that, but I'd like to. Can we get a Maria Oliva interview? That seems like overdue. I could see doing that. I talked to Maria in like 2014 in Texas. What more do you guys want? You're so needy. No, getting an update with Maria sounds like a great idea. I would be all about it. She's got game, and when she's proven, when she's dialed, she can hang with anyone. It's a matter of her consistency. I'm sure she would say the same if we were face to face right now. It's just a matter of her consistency getting her there. Speaking of consistency, it sounds like a good time to change up my light color. What color do you guys want? Yeah, you want pink? Oh no, like I said, I can't go to red. Am I ready? Oh, how about purple? The walls in this room are already red. Yeah, you guys want purple. That doesn't look weird. Oh, I posted this a few weeks ago, and it hasn't hit the wall yet, so it's right here. So I'm going to post it again and share it. Share it. Frenchie, David French, down in North Carolina. So first of all, that's a Cam Todd that you can see back there. I know it's not fully focused. He does a ton of artwork, and I've got more of them that you just can't see, but I do have more Cam Todd stuff in a similar but different version. David French does some pretty amazing artwork as well. Some disc golf, a lot of it's not. If you're in Charlotte, he's definitely a big Charlotte guy. But I posted a few weeks ago on my Instagram, and it was tough to get the perspective because you probably couldn't tell that it was a painting. But here it is. Let's see if I can get that for you guys. Wow. So yeah, there's a little painting for you. It's got a disc golf basket and a campfire and some beautiful trees and whatnot. So that is a David French. This is about, I don't know, 8x10 maybe. But anyway, beautiful. That Cam Todd one back there is also pretty sweet. And I love how the light hits it, but I got to get this up on the wall. Here's something I can share with you guys. Hold on. Oh gosh, this might be trouble. I don't think that I've really shared this directly. Things are going to get a little out of control here. Back in 2003 at the World Championships, and unfortunately now that I've shared this once, you might hear the story another 100 times before I die. But we played in Arizona at the Snow Bowl course. Schwebe, that's where Brian Schweberger, sitting at 297 wins currently. Schwebe, I looked, who hurt his hand coming down in the back of a pickup truck during the World Championships. And because we were called off the hill due to snow in August, but snow and sleet and hail and such. But anyway, this was one of the days where it was still nice out. And so we were practicing. That's why I'm in a t-shirt. And this was one of the photos that was taken. Eventually ended up getting it framed. A friend of mine took it. But this is one of my favorite photos. It's I think the only photo I have of myself hanging. Oh, I don't know if you can see it with the glare. Sorry. Oh, here, let's turn this light off. All right. Still tough to see with the glare, I realize. Seriously? Are you kidding? I feel like YouTube's trying to censor me. Are we good? If YouTube's not trying to censor me, it's either Obama or Putin or Trump or Pelosi. It's one of them. I don't know. Somebody is trying to censor me, and it's getting warm. That's all I'm going to say. All right, we are good. As I continued to ramble, what in the world did you guys last hear me talking about? Let me scroll up a little bit here. So tell me, you just scared the crap out of me. All right, guys. Lee, unfortunately, I don't think this one's not going to be on Twitch. This is the Disc Golf Guys, low budget, low brow, bare minimum, basic bones. I think that's the thing. Bare bones operation. Not the same as what runs through Johnny V's house, his system, or anything of that nature. Oh my gosh. Did you guys seriously? The last thing you heard or saw of me was that photo of me at the World Championships? Holy cow. Okay. I don't remember what I was talking about, but the one thing I was referencing, let's start to wrap this up, people. The one thing I was referencing was that I saw on the board. Somebody asked about Avery Jenkins had finished third in the 99 points battle to me in 99, and Felberg had won it. And again, Avery Jenkins was on tour, traveling, and everything else. So here's what I'm going to tell you. It was Avery Jenkins and tying him that changed my professional career. And I say that because in the year 2000, I was planning on playing Am Worlds one last time. I wasn't going to win, for God's sakes, but I was going to play it one last time. And so I declined cash earlier in the year, I think in February at the Crack Plastic. I declined cash in Kentucky, where I played very well. I declined cash there. And then a few weeks later, I was playing in Hudson Mills in Michigan up against Avery and a couple of the other super good players. And after the end of the second round, I had tied Avery. And I thought, this guy's like super good. Throws a mile. And I tied him on a long course. And I don't even know if he knows the story or realizes it. It was at that moment, even though I had declined hundreds of dollars earlier, it was at that moment I decided I'm just going to accept cash and be a professional from there on out. I went on to go to play the 2000 Pro Worlds and not cash. But it was that moment that I decided to become a professional, and it was 100% due to tying Avery Jenkins. And I looked it up, and you guys, I was muted earlier, but that was in fact, once I looked it up, I knew it was in Michigan, and I didn't know which Michigan event it was. It was the MDGO #1, the Michigan Disc Golf Series event. I tied Avery Jenkins and Darren Harper from a whopping $94, but to me that was good enough. And from that point forward, I accepted cash. And I will never forget that feeling of like, I just hung with this guy who can throw like 100 feet further than me, and we're going to finish in a tie for third or fourth or whatever. And that was good enough. And the rest is history, as they say. So certainly just a wild ride and very cool. And where disc golf has come and where it's going with regard to professionals and amateurs and holding out for that next big title, holding out for the Am Nats, holding out for the Am Worlds. Those are all things that I know are still a concern for people. There's a lot to be said about taking down some of those titles, and I think you do need to learn to win. But there is something to be said about jumping into the pro ranks, but I don't want you to jump in too early. I mean, that's a whole nother conversation. So those are things to think about. All right, guys. What else? You guys all saw the picture, all that other good stuff. We talked about that. Just incredible. I know I mentioned the artwork by David French. If you need anything, he's got good stuff. Cam Todd has good stuff. None of that's new. There's a couple other artists that I think are coming up that you're going to start to see more stuff from as well. Sam, thank you for also sending me an additional message. Good seeing you this last weekend out there at Gray Fox. Juliana, Nick, thank you guys. It was great seeing you guys as well out there this last weekend. All right. Do you guys have anything else? Anything else I need to ramble about? I don't have any other beverages. What else do we have to show you guys for Frisbees? You guys have probably seen some of these. What do we got? Oh, this one I'm just setting aside. Somebody someday might think this is neat. Nobody pays me. These are just personal disc, but this is a really white and greenish swirly buzz Discraft. Sure. Here's a Wonder Bread stamp that I know somebody's going to lose their mind over someday. Those are some random discs. No big deal. Oh, here's a cool looking Hades. That'll get stashed away for a while. Ooh. The first $110 takes this. It's not worth that. But I know people are trying to get their hands on P2s. I found one the other day. So if you want to give me an absurd amount of money, $110, I'll let that one go. Otherwise, it's just going to get stored away. Got some Castoplast that's actually given away. Those are actually already earmarked for our for our winners. So thank you to them. I think I've spread the love around pretty good here tonight. Oh yeah, one more time for Mike Rivamonte. Reach out to me, Mike. We've got your Patreon disc from this year coming your way. All right, guys. I could ramble for hours, and we don't need any more of that. Any buzz about the Worlds in Utah for the pros? I haven't heard anything else, but I don't know what else we're going to hear. I mean, the two courses, excited to see how they play in elevation. We know that the golf course, which is now eluding me, not Mulligan's golf course, we know that that's relatively open and that it's very scoreable. And I think wins will be the number one factor there. As for the Fort, I know they've done a ton of work out there, so I'm excited to see what it looks like. But I think, the major score separation will be taking place out at the Fort is my assumption, because Mulligan's, I expect everybody to shoot really well at. Darren says, I want to win an MA1 before moving to pro, but I did register for pro at a big B tier in August because AM was full. If I cash at that, I'm accepting it and moving up. That seems very reasonable, Darren. I can appreciate the philosophy there. That sounds good. I will say there's something about learning to win, learning to play under pressure, learning to play with a lead, learning to play 2 or 3 strokes down and coming back to win, and getting some of those feels and some of that experience. But at the same time, I don't subscribe to the theory of like, well, you're super good, so just go start playing pro right away. You're going to learn a lot. Here's my rant. Way to conjure one up. A lot of people say, well, if I play with better players, okay, sure. Again, what's driving Ricky and Paul and Calvin and Chris Dickerson every weekend then? Because they're not playing with better players. But anyway, so find it within, for starters. Like, motivate yourself to play better. Because if you're relying on somebody else to get you to play better, what happens when you're the best person there? Then what are you going to do? I hate that. I absolutely hate that philosophy. I only play better when I play with better players. Okay. That wasn't where I was going to go with this. So yeah, you have to learn all those things and get that experience. But also, some people are like, well, I'm going to go play pro because I'm going to learn so much. You're not going to learn a lot on the bottom card of pro, because there's going to be 3 other players that probably also don't belong in pro that you're going to be playing with. So it's just going to be a bunch of terrible non-pros playing with one another. Now, I'm not advocating for sandbagging. There's a very fine line here between being at the top and constantly dominating, we'll say, advanced men, and then going and playing and being in the middle to lower pack of pro men or MPO. I understand there's a fine line there. But for the people that are like, well, I've been playing 2 weeks, I'm going to go play pro because that's where I'm going to learn the most. No, you're not. You're going to go play with a bunch of other terrible pros who probably also don't know what they're doing. Stop that. Like, I know some terrible pros, and I think you're better learning how to play good in advanced and play well, or play good, play gooder. You're going to play bester in advance, but dealing with those pressures, dealing with your internal thoughts and all those things that are going on at the top or near the top of an advanced level versus going and playing with 10 other guys that are terrible that never get off the bottom of MPO. Like, I hate that mentality. And I see it in FPO and MPO. Well, I'm going to play FPO because I want to get better quicker. And if I play with better players, I'm going to learn more from them. And I'm going to play in FPO. That's great. If you're like mediocre, if you're somewhat good. But if you're terrible, you're going to go play with other terrible players. And then what are you going to learn? I don't understand that. I do not understand that at all. Now, if you want to just say, hey, I played pro this weekend because I'm playing pro and I don't care where I finish, like that's another agenda. I'm good with that. But if you think that simply by registering for a division up is automatically like that is a golden ticket to then learning and getting better, not necessarily. Because if you get to that next division and they're all just as bad as you, all you're doing is shifting the line of where bad is and what division you're in. That's what I can say about that. And trust me, I've heard this for 20 years or more. It's a philosophy I do not understand. Tim says, you got any beat up Cyclones from 1991? Probably. When I was sponsored by Discraft, I'm trying to think of it was 2005, 2006 were the main years. I got into a kick of Z Cyclones and X2s. And at one point when I was getting bonuses from Discraft, I'd say, hey, I'll take 25 X2s. Z X2s. I've got a lot of X2s somewhere. A lot. Cyclones, not as much. And for those of you who don't know what Cyclones are, hot disc. I don't think they were out in quite 91. I think they probably came out in I want to say 95 or 96, Tim. We both have to check the record books, but I want to say 95 or 96. And I think the Typhoon was just before it. For those of you who don't know, those are Discraft discs before Paul Macbeth joined the team. Okay. Real Creek says Terry's never afraid to speak his mind. No, there's certain topics that I genuinely I will never understand philosophies within our game or just sports in general or other activities. When people say things like that all the time, I'm going to get better if I play with better. I feel like that might be true to a certain degree in certain circumstances. But like I said, if you're going to go play with the bottom of the field in the next division up, you're probably not learning anything because they're all just as bad as you. Cody says, lower reg fees, player packs, merch box, and winning experience. Stay AM until you hit a 4-digit rating. At least my philosophy. That's not the dumbest thing you've said, Cody. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's, I don't know if I'd set a hard number at 4-digit, but yeah, short answer is I'm good with that. Learn all of those things that you need to learn when playing in those divisions. And then at that point, decide if it's worth it for you to move up. Disc Blaster says, I sandbag AM1, but keep getting beat by people way worse than me. And I take third because I miss a bunch of 25 footers. Yeah, it sounds like you still don't have it dialed in, Disc Blaster. That's what it sounds like. That's the best I can say to that. So it's like you feel like you're sandbagging, but you're still not because you still aren't consistent enough to make those 25 footers. So yes, golf is a long walk spoiled. That's that seems like a great great quote. Oh my gosh. What I gotta see if I need to go up or down from here. Terry, do you have any Crystal Nuke OSs? I don't know that I do. S-Line P2, $60. That wasn't an S-Line. That was, I don't know, is that called a D-Line? I don't know if, I do have a Sky God. I randomly found some Sky Gods the other day. People are losing their minds over that. This is a D-Line P2. That's why I said, I jokingly, but not jokingly said, give me 110 and I'll send it out. But I really don't want to let it go because someday this will be worth 110. That's the funny part. Lee says, I have not. I throw Innova and Discraft, just trusting the non-original manufacturers. Massive J says, I just need to learn how to throw 600. Yeah, me too. All right. 15. Good one. Greg. Talking about Greg Hosfeld won 1987 Worlds with Cyclones in his bag. Are you sure? I don't think he did. I don't think the Cyclone existed in 87. I feel like 93 or 4. Don't make me Google this live on the air because nobody loves live research on the air, but I'm still going to do it. Discraft. Cyclone. The original. I don't even know where you'd find that. History. I mean, this isn't going to be in there. History of disc. Somebody do this math for us, or this research for us, and maths. I do not feel like it was around that long. Of course, I was wrong one other time in life, so I could be wrong again. I don't feel like I was. I feel like I don't think it was before 92. I would at best give it 93. I'm thinking maybe 95 because that's all right around when I started, and the Cyclone was the hot disc then. So you guys do some research. Get back to me on that. Alan says, I'm clearly an AM, but moved up to play pro with Stokely. Hung in the first round and got crushed in the second round. Had a great time. And again, you're going to get that experience from time to time where you're playing in your first round and it's not based on play and it's maybe random. And so you get to play with another player. I guess the question is, do you feel like you learned? Was it just fun? Was it entertaining? Were there, legitimate takeaways? Those are all things I guess you have to think about if you are going to go play in a pro division event, or pro division at an event. Have any Star SLs? My main thrower for many years. Any idea why they quit making them? I think just a lack of popularity. I mean, there's the Starfire and then the Star SL, and then where does that blur the line of some of the other molds that were, I guess, kind of similar? I think the Starfire was really popular for many years, and then it kind of lost its popularity, and you just don't see it as often out there, in my opinion. What was my highest rating? I think was a question that might have come in. I was rated 995, and I'm going to take this to this one. I might put this on my tombstone. So this is a shout out to Eric McCabe. About 3 years ago, we did a podcast when showing up for the DDO, previously known as the GBO, for some of you newer viewers. And I somehow, I don't know what came up, but something was said. I didn't bring it up, believe it or not. I didn't bring up that I was rated 995 at my peak. And he said, with today's inflation, he's like, that would have probably been more like a 1010 or 1015, I think was the phrasing he used. And of course, that's Eric McCabe's opinion. Do I feel like I was maybe by today's standards a little bit better than 995? Maybe, maybe not. I know that I'm there's two what ifs and minor regrets in my disc golf career. One, I never did get to 1,000. And two, I didn't sign up like 6 months earlier or a year earlier to be under 4 digits. My PDGA number is 10738. And I always like, oh, but I mean, I signed up when I was a kid. I was like, 15. So I can't argue. A lot of people say, well, I got introduced to disc golf when I was, 19, but I didn't sign up till I was 34. And it's like, okay, well, I signed up within months of finding out about serious disc golf. So I can't say much. And at that time, to move 739 numbers, that took months, like literally months it took. And now they're signing up 739 people in a few days or a day. So it was a very different world back then. So I always wish that I guess in reverse, in a converse way, I wish I was both ways. I wish I was 4 digits. Then never mind. I wish I was a 4-digit rating, which I never quite got to. And I wish I was a 4-digit PDGA number, which I was just above. I'm 10738. There you go. Sky gods are like $100 to $300. I got you. Shift one photo. He's referring to Greg Hosfeld. Once told me putting wins tourneys. What do you know? I won this weekend, shot 100%, C1 final round. I guess Greg's right. That's a good way to put it, Matt. I agree. Putting's the ultimate equalizer. There's no doubt about that. Yeah, and Cyclone definitely did not exist in 87. I agree. Here we go. All right, Ryan Pilcher. Thank you, Ryan. Good seeing you this weekend. Says manufacturer was Discraft approved in July of 93. What did I say? The earliest would have been 93. Is that what I said, or did I say 94? Either way, 93. That makes sense. 1993. Thank you, guys. I appreciate that for doing the work for me. Stokely is talking about playing the Pro Tour in 2022. Terry, you can do it and make the first run at Pro. Last run. Now, it just doesn't interest me. That grind, obviously competition's good, which is great. I don't have the passion to play like I used to, although I do enjoy it from time to time. Shift one photo says I met 9943 PDGA this weekend. He said he signed up in 93. Yeah, and I signed up in like 94, 95. I think I was a senior in high school or a junior in high school when I did. And just to think, yeah, I'm not even 1,000 past him, and I signed up 1 or 2 years later. Seriously, people, does that tell you how quickly we're growing? It's insane. Somebody said earlier that I was giving away Proto Star Destroyers, and I am. They're just $500 each. All right. How much does Terry weigh? Good question, Eric. I am at my peak performance. I don't know what the exact number is, but I'm pretty sure it's the highest. I'm at a career high, and I'm not, as much as I joke about it, I'm not happy about that. So believe it or not, outside of this bourbon, whatever I had tonight, outside of this, I'm actually getting more serious about that. It's been 2 months and 1 day, 2 months today since I've had a soda. The problem is I've managed to substitute other things that aren't good for me for the lack of soda that I've had. But the fact that I've gone 60 days without a soda is, that's definitely a first in I don't know how many years. Unfortunately, I have a lot of other bad habits that aren't helping me. But it's been 2 months today since I've had a soda. And for anyone that's quit soda, you know how tough that is or can be. Okay, this thing's gone off the rails. You guys are getting wild. I did say 93. Good. Once in a while, I'm smart. Stokely versus Brody. That would be probably pretty entertaining. I would love to see that. All right, folks. This is enough rambling for me tonight. Well, okay, I could go 6 more hours, but I'm not going to. I don't even want to look around at other things that could distract me to entertain you guys with or attempt to. Oh, gosh, darn it. Other than the fact that if you like this shirt, and we've given a few away to Patreon people, but if you like this shirt and you just think it looks cool, I know you didn't play in the event, probably. This is a 60/40 cotton poly blend. All of the shirts I wear, my undershirt is the same style. This is the softest shirt, probably disc golf shirt you'll get. And if you just like this shirt from the Skyline Classic I ran a few months ago, and you want to get your hands on one, I've got extras, and I'd love to sell them. I'd love to give some away, but I'd love to sell them even more. So reach out to me if you think this is a cool looking shirt. It's got MIDI on the back. A little shout out to those guys. But yeah, this is a sweet shirt. And I've got a bunch left. And honestly, I don't know what else I'm going to do with them. So you should buy them. We're going to call it. This has been SmashBoxx, I don't know, 352 after show. Terry's been, that's me, been rambling for hours. I appreciate you guys, seriously. It's been a lot of fun, even if I'm a little bit warm and need to go to bed or do other disc golf work. We'll do extra giveaways next week, because we always do when one of us is out of town. So we'll do extra giveaways. We'll have 2 of them for our Patreon subscribers. If you're missing anything from the Disc Golf Guy or from Patreon on SmashBoxx, do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'm never offended by that. Things get lost in the shuffle. I have some stuff to get shipped out, I do realize. So reach out and send me a gentle reminder. Make sure we have your correct mailing address. And make sure we've got all the right info so that we can get you some free stuff. If you need my disc in a box, it's my disc in a box. If you need any of those, I've got those here, shipping them out in 100 count packs as well. So let's have some fun this weekend. Of course, we're going to be enjoying on the Disc Golf Network all of the action coming to you guys from the Portland Open. Friday, Saturday will be exclusive on the Disc Golf Network. Sunday will be on the Disc Golf Network, along with being free on YouTube. So if you're too cheap to pay for the Disc Golf Network, or you can't afford it, you can join us on YouTube for free on Sunday. For Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy. Oh man, I don't have anything to close this thing out with. I gotta give you guys something. I appreciate you guys seriously for joining us tonight, or me. I think I'm just gonna close things out with that. See ya. Good night. We'll see you next week when you step inside the SmashBoxx.